It's time for the Unex News. Extraterrestrials, time anomalies, dimensions, remote viewing, UFOs, UAPs, and USOs, ghostly encounters, abductions, Bigfoot, and more. Your end of the week news source for everything unexplained. Here is your host for the Unex News Podcast, Margie K.
Hello and welcome to Unex News. I'm your host, Margie K. On this interesting Friday night, a lot has been going on lately. I want to share a couple of new things with you. We do have this new book that Unex Media just published by Derek Smith. You may know Derek because he has written quite a few articles for Unex Magazine, and they're always very good. Well, he has written a collection of horror stories, fiction horror stories, and the first book has been published and it's available at Amazon if you go to Amazon directly, or you can go to Unex Media and get more information on that. And then to add to our adult coloring book set, we have this new one, the paranormal coloring book, and there aren't that many out there. So I thought, yeah, we needed to add this to the mix. We have 3 others as well, and they are designed, I use them in my remote viewing classes. They're designed to get you into a meditative state. So if you have trouble meditating or just want something to chill out and calm down, adult coloring really works well. So do check that out. And then I've got some news next week. We have a new show coming on the X. It's called MUFON Midwest, and it's about UFOs in the heartland. And we have got some great speakers and great guests lined up for that. I will be the initial host, but we may have other hosts or co-hosts in the future. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be on Tuesday nights, right after Weeds of Wisdom. So 6 p.m. Central, Weeds of Wisdom, 7 p.m. Central, MUFON Midwest. And the first one, of course, is a good one. It's Fred Zooey is going to talk about some of the very interesting cases in Nebraska. And, of course, there have been a lot there. Another item I want to mention is I have been getting, in the past few years, a lot of reports of winged cryptids. Now, people from all walks of life are seeing these things. And I just got another one from Puerto Rico where actually more than one person, but the witness made the report. And he said there were actually 2 pterodactyls. And he said they had the crest on the head, the feet sticking out, the wings, everything screamed pterodactyl and nothing else. And he and his wife were there with a group of people, and they said they were flying very low, only 200-300 feet above them, totally silent. They did not flap their wings, and they were just gliding on the wind currents next to the ocean. And they just watched them for a while gliding, and then they went down behind a tree line together. And everybody in the group just looked at each other and said, what the heck did we just see? So this just happened recently, and I will be posting a blog about that, of course. But there have been a number of other cases around. I'd say I took my first case in about 2012, I think, of Mothman in Kansas City. And as soon as I posted a blog about that, all of these other reports started coming in. Giant black birds with huge 15-foot wingspans, a few pterodactyl sightings, believe it or not, around the KC area. And then I got one in Kansas that was from the 1980s. Somebody saw a couple of pterodactyl there. There was a couple from, west of St. Louis, reports, again, 2 pterodactyls together. One in Independence, Missouri, just about 10 years ago. And this was my brother's sighting. And, well, he's credible. He's my brother. He said he was outside and he saw these 2 pterodactyls just gliding on the wind. They did not flap their wings. So, I've got the book Winged Cryptids out that talks about some of that, but the more recent ones are not in there. So I'm really thinking about writing a book on the pterodactyl sightings and Mothman sightings, anything that's winged, that looks like, it could be something interdimensional, because my thoughts on this is that these creatures are interdimensional because no one's ever found one, dead or alive. No one's ever captured one. And it just seems that it kind of stands to reason. Of course, there are a lot of people think Bigfoot is an interdimensional creature, and I'm one of them. There's a lot of evidence to support that. People have seen them actually walking into trees or walking into a portal that appears and then they disappear. So why not some of these other creatures that are what we call cryptids, because we don't really know exactly what they are or how they appear and disappear. People see them. Sometimes they get photos of them, sometimes not. But so if you have seen anything like that, any kind of weird cryptid, cryptid of any type I want to hear about, but especially the winged cryptids, please send me an email to margiek1111@gmail.com. Okay, that's margiek1111@gmail.com, because I would like to include some other stories in an upcoming book about that subject. So do let me know if you have seen. And here we have Fred is in the chat. Of course, he says, "Hey, Margie, exciting to talk about these 4 MUFON cases here in Nebraska. 2 cases of triangular crafts 50 feet away from the witness, and a major sighting with 2 USAF security guards." Wow, Fred, this is going to be a good show on Tuesday, so I'm really looking forward to that. Now, our guest tonight, he's not in yet, but I'm going to go ahead and read his bio. And he's actually doing another show right before this one, then he's going to pop in. My guest tonight is Jason Albertson. He has been on the show before, quite some time ago. He's a decorated U.S. Army veteran, seasoned investigator, and dedicated educator, known for his unwavering commitment to service, both on the battlefield and in the field of public research. Over a 10-year military career, Jason earned distinction as a sergeant, receiving the Bronze Star for Valor under enemy fire and the Presidential Volunteer Service Medal for his extensive contributions to community development and education. Following his military service, Jason returned to Northeastern Pennsylvania, where he continues to serve the public as State Section Director for MUFON PA Area 3. In this role, he has overseen and closed more than 80 UFO investigation cases. He has been featured on Ancient Aliens, Season 19, Episode 5, The MUFON Files, and News Nation for his work surrounding recent UFO sightings in the region. And right on cue, Jason just appeared. Welcome to the program.
I just appeared. How are you doing today, Margie?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me tonight. I just finished reading your introduction. I guess we should start off with, how did you get interested in UFOs?
I got interested because when I was younger, I had an experience of my own. I was 16 years old, and my mother and I went outside, and we had 2 hours of missing time from an abduction experience that we both had at the same time.
Oh, wow.
It was by a living spaceship, though. The ship was alive itself. It wasn't the beings inside were they were being controlled by the ship.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a very unusual case, incident.
Yes.
Does your mother remember this?
Oh yeah, she remembers. She
Okay.
remembers bits and pieces of it like I do. She remembers standing there and having these two, she said, little that she didn't turn to either side to see, but she said these two little children were holding my hands and we went down this elevator. And then that's what she remembered, that they were taking her down this hallway, but it was like it was a living spaceship. It wasn't like seeing metal or like the ship was like if you put your finger inside of your mouth, like the liquid, the sliminess, it was alive.
Oh my goodness.
It was a living ship.
Was it like breathing?
No, not per se. It was almost like the ship itself was alive. It was the being, like we're inside of it. It's a living creature, but we're inside of it. But it's metal. It's like a living organic metal compound that it's like self-healing. That's what they told me. That's why they do organic metal.
So when you say they told you, so extraterrestrials told you this?
Yes, it was actually a mantis race. Mostly human looking though. They had human features, but they were like human facial features, but it was like they were bluish, like a light bluish tint, like scaly.
Oh my goodness. Do you remember actually going on this craft?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And were you driving or what?
No. We were actually at our house. I was on top of the hill. We lived on top of the hill outside of my town of Millville, like 500 people. And my mom said, let's go outside for a cigarette. I was 16. My dad didn't let me smoke in the house. And he said, the only rule I have is you smoke outside. I said, okay. So I went outside. And I obeyed his rules. If you're going to let me, yeah, I'm going to go outside. So I went outside with my mom and we looked past, there was like a totally open den with all windows in it that you have to go through to get to the door on the outside. And there's a big clock there, like this big and huge. And it's got huge hands on it. And as we're going out, we looked at it and it's 6:30. Like, great. I got 2 more hours. So I got to go to sleep, for school. So we're outside. The second I had lit that cigarette, I looked over and I was smoking and we looked over and I was like, oh, look, a helicopter. I thought it was a helicopter. It was a big light, but it was above the tree line, like about 3 miles away from me over the mountain. And it started shining this light down in the forest. I'm like, oh man, Mom, look. I started laughing. I'm like, I knew it. The sheriff, they're looking for somebody. The police, they're looking for somebody. It's a helicopter. Mm-hmm. I started laughing. I started pointing at it. And as soon as I started laughing at it, my mom looked over at it. It went from like 3 miles away to directly above us.
Oh.
All we saw was light. It was just this blinding light that was like, it didn't hurt my eyes, but it was blinding. Normally you see a blinding light, you're trying to squint and trying to make out I didn't have to squint. It's just like, it was blinding, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it was energetic. It was like a charge to it, kind of like a tingly to my skin.
Like static electricity?
Kind of, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember, the next thing I remember, which these are bits and pieces that I have from doing hypnosis once. I did I think it's the Estes method. Estes?
Yes, Estes method.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I learned that when I went up, I was on a table, but it wasn't a table. It was like I was on it, but there was nothing there. It was see-through. I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's there. Like I can feel it, but it's not there. there's nothing there. Like, okay, so what am I sitting on? I jump up and I'm looking around, and this is what I got from my hypnosis. And I'm in this big room, and it's all like, it's really dark in there, but I see a light from like this hallway, and it's an open doorway. There's no door on it. It's just like this passageway. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going that way. I'm going to see where we're at. And I put my hand like around the corner like this. And that's when I felt the sliminess. And I'm like, oh. And I look around the corner, and the last thing I remember was I saw my mom, and she was at the end of the hallway. And these two gray little beings were there with both hands. They had her hands like this. My mom was just like, and they went, all of a sudden I seen the thing shut, and my mom went down real quick down this tube, and I felt something pull me back in the room. And then me and her woke up like 2 hours later.
And where were you when you woke up?
That's the funny part. We're in the same spot. Okay. Same exact spot. However, this is a big thing to say. We only brought out one cigarette. I lit it at the beginning. I saw this craft. We got up. I only had one. 2 hours went by. We went back inside, and my mom goes, oh, it's bedtime. I'm like, no, it's not. It's like 6:40. There's no way. 2 hours. And she's just staring at the clock. I'm like, Mom, what? She's like, we were out there for 2 hours. I'm like, and I just started staring at the clock. And I'm like, that's not possible, because we only had one cigarette, and I put it out. I literally put it out when we came inside, unless they like stopped that moment and then, put it back. That's the only thing I can think of. But that's what got me interested in UFOs.
Well, I guess so. That would do it. Did you have any experiences prior to that or after?
Prior, when I was 7, I had a couple. When I was younger, my parents couldn't leave the bedroom. They had to crawl out, army style. They told me.
Why?
I got scared of this. It was okay. Did you ever see the newest movie of War of the Worlds? Not with Ice Cube, but the one with the eyeballs. They have like this tentacle thing that comes out, and it goes through the rooms, and it looks around. It's like an eyeball.
Yeah. With Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's scary.
Now, 6 years old. This was 1991. I'm in my bedroom in Millville before we moved up to the hill. We're at this house in town. And this eyeball with a mechanical back to it comes out from underneath my bed, looks at me. I screamed my head off. My parents run in the room, and they're like, oh, you're just imagining things, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, yeah. Every night something happened. Like, if it wasn't me looking over at my window and seeing like a face or something come past, and then years later, my dad goes, oh, well, we knew the place was haunted, but, we didn't want to scare you. I'm like, you could have told me.
Oh, haunted. Okay. Well, it seems like people who have paranormal experiences also have UFO experiences and vice versa.
Yeah, I've had my fair share, especially I had a couple experiences when I was in the military. I was actually in Iraq, and this is 2006 to 2007. So I'm in Iraq, and we're doing a mission, and I'm up on top, and I have the night vision on. And it's like this one area that we went through up near this Key West area was like the tip of the, let me think. southwest, maybe southeast, southwest. So southwest or northwest, I think it was northwest corner. Sorry, I'm trying to think of my directions here. Northwest corner of Iraq is Key West, and I'm sitting there wearing night vision goggles, and I see like this this swirling of this like sandstorm coming. And usually, we get down and we button up inside the trucks. Well, this time they told us, stay up, a little bit, see if you can spot anything out there. Maybe they're using it as cover or something. I was like, okay, well, I'll stay up. So I've got the night vision on. And I'm just seeing like these, I call them like dancing balls. I didn't know they were orbs at the time. I didn't know anything about orbs. I didn't know anything about, they definitely were not balloons because they went against the wind. They went, through the sandstorm and then out the other side. And I was like, what is that? Asked my commanders and nobody wanted to say anything. Like, it was always like when we went in that area, we always had something happen, but nobody wanted to talk about it.
Did it seem like they knew something and didn't want to talk about it, or they just really didn't know?
I'm pretty sure the commander knew. I'm pretty sure he knew beforehand, but he didn't want to tell us because we were security. He would have told us that what we were going through or what we might see, who knows what would have happened to some of those guys, because they were trigger happy. And
okay.
Yeah, let's not go there.
No. Well, in your time in the military, so you had 10 years.
Yes.
Besides that one event, did you ever hear of anyone else in the military seeing UFOs, or did you have any other encounters?
I had a buddy of mine, secondhand knowledge, I wish it was firsthand, that was on a team with Blackwater. Blackwater is a hired contract team that you can hire to like guard assets. Not military wise. These are like industrial assets, like building supplies. If you're building a new base, you'd have like Blackwater go there first and clear it out first or something. They were like the ones that went out and did the missions that were secret and everything like that. Well, a buddy of mine told me that the whole reason we went to Iraq was not the fact of the oil. It was the fact that Saddam actually found an intact alien spaceship under his palace.
Okay. And that's the first time I'm hearing that. He
was going to excavate it. The U.S. did not want Saddam insane to get his hands on that technology and use it against the United States.
Right.
So what does the United States do? He has weapons of mass destruction. Well, yes, he does if he would get a hold of that UFO. They weren't talking about if you read the fine print, it says, it doesn't say what we went in there for. It says weapons of mass destruction. That could be anything. Right. That could be biological, technological, chemical, nuclear. It was a broad range because they didn't want anybody looking into the actual reason.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to really talk to you about more about that when we're off air, because that honestly is the first time I've heard of it. Surely somebody else is talking about that.
My buddy says that they were a security convoy, and they were supposed to guard Blackwater around the area while Blackwater went in. He said he watched this truck back up over this hole and come back out loaded.
Oh, really?
Completely loaded up. It had something on it, but it had a huge black tarp over top of it after that. So they got something out of there. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if it was a ship or if it was alien technology, if it was But what I heard was it was an intact ship with no damage. It was like it was parked there. Millions of years happened. And then Saddam put his palace on top or somewhere near there. They were doing seismograms underneath the ground to get tunnels underneath the palace for escape routes. They found out it's under there. Then they start digging it up, and we found out about it. Now they have weapons of mass destruction.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Well, on that note, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more with Jason Albertson. See you in a few minutes.
The Unexplained Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unexplained Network website at unexnetwork.com. That's unexnetwork.com. The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or amazon.com.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Margie Kay with the NX News, and our guest this evening is Jason Albertson. And boy, we are talking about some interesting stuff tonight, your own experiences, and of course, UFOs and the military. And I just found out something new to me anyway. How well known is this, Jason? Has anybody been talking about it?
I'm the only one that's been talking about it.
You're the only one.
So far. I've told it on Spaced Out Radio. I've told it on your show, my show, and maybe 1 or 2 others, but not very many people have known this. But you have to read the fine print of why we went in. It doesn't specify. It just says weapons of mass destruction. That could be anything.
Yeah, it certainly could. It certainly could. You know, one of the subjects that you sent me, and of course we named our broadcast this evening after it is, are UFOs a danger to the military? And are they? And why do you think so?
They're a danger to operations that put them in jeopardy. And the way I say that is, you've got UFOs in the area, okay? Of course, you're going to send up fighter planes, right? But once those fighter planes are up in the air, that's an escalation. Not just from us, but you have fighter planes in the air. We're escalating now. So what do? They escalate. There has been unfortunate accidents of UFOs that have come dangerously close to planes, jets, military aircraft. And it's more the military needs to worry about it than civilian. And the reason being is the military is hunting them. Civilians are not.
True. They're much more likely to get close and to have a problem. Obviously.
Oh yeah,
that would be the case. What do you know of any cases where there were injuries or crashes that were caused by UFOs?
There was a couple that I can recall. Let me think if I can get one off the top of my head here. Mandel. I want to say Mandel was his last name. He was a pilot. And let me see if I can. Mandel. I think he was a pilot that went up and was actually chasing one. And he got up to a point, and it wasn't the fact that the UFO did anything wrong. Okay. His plane couldn't handle it. He kept going farther up. He was chasing this UFO all the way to space if he could. But eventually your plane can't handle it. So yes, they did label it as a crash, but it was more on, he could have turned around, but he wanted to go after this thing. So it's more like the military has to worry about their own pilots and their own, like, they're going to make decisions up there. It's going to put themselves in jeopardy just to get a kick out of it. And I know this. You've got military guys that go out there just to join the military, to go to war and, whatever else they want to do. Me, I was more like, I want to stop this from happening. It's not about that. But if you're in the military, it's all operational security. What is in your area of operations? And if there's something in there that they're having trouble identifying, they're always going to consider it a threat first. Once they identify it, then they can determine and downgrade from there. But it seems to me that it's always threat-based first before it's intelligence-based.
I witnessed personally a couple years ago, along with my assistant in my office, we heard a very loud noise, ran outside, and saw an F-18 fighter jet very low to the ground, maybe 200 feet.
Oh, wow.
Right above the trees, right next to my office, 100 feet away from me. Okay. and as it came by, it turned sideways. So it goes from this to this, and it's going south, headed south. We didn't know it at the time that there was another one way over to our right that was on the same trajectory. And then we saw them come together, and the fighter jet on the right went further south. The one on my left was turning, and maybe it was about a mile away by the time it got in front of me. And at that exact moment that it was right directly in front of us, directly south, there was a UFO underneath it. And it was huge, silver, but also sparkly, very sparkles with multicolors.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, super fast.
That before.
And we're just dumbfounded, totally dumbfounded.
Yeah.
There was not one newspaper account. Nobody reported it to MUFON. I didn't see any reports in the National UFO Reporting Center. With all of these in the middle of the day, okay? Middle of a busy working day, and nobody reported this. What do you think? What do you think? And there were definitely fighter jets fighting it, trying to catch it, but there's no way they could have caught it.
90% of the time, it gets shut down by the nearest military base in that area. And what I mean shut down is the news media is going to contact them and say, oh my God, all these people seen flying stuff. And they're going to contact the base, and that base is going to go, nah, that's just some weather balloons we released, man. And that news reporter is going to be like, oh, it really? And then they're going to dismiss everything, even though sometimes, like when the drone stuff happened, some of that was our technology, but most of that was artificial. It was not technology that we could do right now. But to muddy the waters, they threw up everything we had that was technology because they didn't want us to find out and hone in on the real ones that were up there. There were thousands of them. You got to hone in on one that's unusual. You know, there's a bit of a speculation there. So,
well, where you are in Pennsylvania, did you see any of those drones?
Yes, actually, I investigated one in Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania, that was over someone's house that was a bus size.
Oh.
She had sent me a video to MUFON, and it was as big as his bus, and it was the tail end of it that she got, and she caught it, and it was flying away. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that is not a commercial drone because it's a bus. Like it literally looks like the size of a bus up there. I mean, yeah, I know somebody will say you need three points, viewpoints to accurately make an observation on the size of an object. So I count the trees, and that it being tree level almost in the video, and that's what I count as the actual location based on how big, or to make an assumption on the size of the object, because other than that I would have no basis for the size.
Was there any sound?
No sound at all, which was very weird. It had strobes on either side, but they were not FAA regulation strobes on the sides, like you would say on planes. It was like you said, like that you saw, where it was different colors going across like this, but it was only two different colors going across like this, like one side to the other. Just one and one. Just over here would be one, over here would be one.
Okay.
And you go back and forth, left and right. And
something was trying to mimic what drones should look like, and they didn't get it quite right.
That's another thing that I think. There's so much out there that we're not entirely sure about, because they did. As soon as there was one mystery object somebody saw, they threw up a bunch of military drones. They threw up a bunch of like high-tech equipment, and they said, well, this will muddy the waters so people don't see and hone in on the unusual ones.
Well, I haven't heard any final consensus on what those things were. What are your thoughts on that?
My final thoughts on that are that there was a mass event that the military knew about, that they didn't think was going to happen, but they were ready for. And as soon as, now, I want to make it clear to people that there is a newly, which nobody probably knows, but they will look now. There is a newly formed UAV training unit that has been stationed in Pennsylvania, and they started 3 years ago.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Toby Hanna Army Depot. There is now another section onto that. They have the Air Force Air Squadron UAV training unit up there now. And that started 3 years ago. So I wonder where all these UAVs came from.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that either. I'm learning a lot from you tonight. Pennsylvania has a history of UFOs, of being one of the major hotspots in the United States. Do you have any ideas about why that is?
the biggest thing that I've come to realize about energy, magnetical anomalies, energy lines, and crystalline rock structures. Okay. Now you're looking for quartz, you're looking for crystal because it holds a high vibration. So at that point, you're also looking for crystals in an area with high vibration with a huge magnetical anomaly. You can get them through the USGS, the U.S. Geological Surveys. They do magnetical surveys of the United States, and you can look up a map of the magnetical anomalies of all of the U.S., and you could see all the purples and pinks and reds and like certain spots, and you're like, that's where the magnetical anomalies are. But then post all the UFOs. They're all around those areas.
Do you have some particular places in Pennsylvania that are more prevalent for UFO sightings?
Most of them happen around the mountain area, around Appalachian Trail area, southern Pennsylvania, mostly mountains. Most of our really, really solid cases happened down by Pittsburgh. Let me think. There was one in Susquehanna Valley. We had the Susquehanna Valley flap that happened, I believe, in 97. There was a huge flap of UFOs that happened over Pennsylvania. And then there's just a bunch. Now, if you're looking, though, you want to see like magnetical anomalies. That's where you want to go the most. Magnetical anomalies where you're going to find quartz or some kind of crystal that has a high vibrational content.
Well, I think there must be a connection to that as well. There are some locations in South Missouri and Arkansas where there's a large amount of crystals, and also coinciding with that, large numbers of UFO sightings. Of course, we can speculate what that's for. It's energy for their propulsion systems or whatever that might be. But
it is a perfect energy source, Margie, because if you take an underwater river and you run it through an underwater mountain or underground and under a mountain, and it's got a vein of quartz all the way through it, and you have a pressurized water system, it's a quasi-electrical effect. You're creating electricity through the pressure of it going through that quartz.
Yeah. And then, of course, quartz magnifies energy, amplifies it. All right.
Lots.
What military training taught you about unknown threats?
Say the biggest training that I got would be the just when I was in the military. It was all about you need to know your enemy before they know you. And I'm not saying UFOs are the enemy or anything, but if you want to know them, try to put yourself in their shoes. That's what I learned in the military with intelligence work. Okay. You put yourself in their shoes. They are coming from millions of light years away, even if they're not, if they're coming from somewhere, not from here. Or maybe they are inner Earth, who knows? But they have better technology. They have better resources. They seem to be more loving, caring than us. So it's like the intelligence factor. That's where it gets me, because that's what got me into what I'm doing now. Like at the end of my career, I was in the 204th Military Intelligence Aerial Reconnaissance Battalion. And it was all about intelligence, but that's what got me into the UFO topic, because I'm like, I put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, they came here all this way. Why would they want to hurt us if they came all this way? You know, they want to see us more than they want to hurt us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they want to, I guess, like, show you a different road to go down than what we're doing now with the weapons of mass destruction we have. You know,
Exactly.
It's too much. And who knows? They might have went through the same thing on their planet, and they're coming down here going,
Mm-hmm.
dude, come on, look what we just did.
Yeah. Well, there are some people who have had contact with extraterrestrials. And so that brings me to your Project Contact deep dive. What is that about?
Project Contact is the new organization that I'm a part of, and they wanted me to come on as the lead field research officer for them, to make sure that all the research in the field was done ethically, morally, and I would make sure that 100% of the information, the documentation, videos, pictures, and any other documentation is being put out. It's not being held back. It's not being, because that was my one speculation with joining. I said, I will not hold back information. And they said, good, we don't want you to.
So the public is going to have access to this?
100%. It is, we are doing the first ever, which it's almost complete now, the first ever technology-assisted consciousness exploration program.
All right. Please explain further.
Now, a friend of mine has created a device. I call it the Magneto helmet, but he calls it the assist, the machine assist. Within this machine assist is you have magnetical brainwave entrainment devices that is on both sides of the helmet. Okay. You have 240 BP of that is all around. That is red light energetic state. And you also have inside the helmet, you're also having, at the same time, you're having your HemiSync audio tuning that is tuning your brain to one frequency, left, right.
Okay.
So the machine is basically an assist to mold your brain waves into a single coherent strand, and then meditate from there using, it'll be just a headset, helmet, it's all built into it. And it's my buddy has tried it out once already, and wow, some good results already. The
purpose is to make contact?
Yes. The purpose is for assisting. It's a machine to help you make contact, because some people are not monks. They don't meditate for 80 hours, a week and all this, they don't every hour, every waking hour, they don't meditate. This is a machine that will be for everyday people that they could put on to help them retrain their brain waves to make it easier to make contact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like it's putting them in an altered state of consciousness fairly easily, which a lot of people do have trouble doing. And I teach remote viewing, so I understand a lot of my students have trouble with that.
Yes.
And, there are various methods, but that seems like basically a shortcut.
Yes and no. Now, we want it to be a helper, but not a crutch at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So my feelings on this would be more, I wouldn't give it to somebody who Joe Schmo down the street and says, hey, I've done nothing, in my whole entire life, and I just want to try it. You might not have a good experience. It depends.
Mm-hmm.
You have to train yourself too beforehand to accept what you get out of it, because you could get a whole bunch of stuff out of it, but you could also get nothing.
That's actually similar to some people who've tried the ayahuasca tea or psilocybin mushrooms in order to get into an altered state.
Yes.
And most of the time it's a good experience, but sometimes it's a bad one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I've heard both.
So yeah, I definitely want to talk to you more about that. So don't plan on going anywhere after the show.
I'll be we will be up in can't tell you the dates, but I'll just say September, October. I will be doing our first field exercise with Project Contact for a 5-day expedition at Mount Adams, Washington State. We're doing an underground, we're doing caves, we're doing magnetic anomalies, calling, CE5, and we're testing out our equipment.
Wow. Sounds like a little bit of everything.
It's going to be a big one. Real big.
Well, you should have good luck then.
I'm hoping so. I really am. Mount Adams has all been active, like around there. Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, they've been having these small little earthquakes happening.
Do you think that now that you brought that up, we've had some earthquakes recently and a really big one recently, had a small one in Missouri today. Do you think that there's any correlation with UFO sightings and earthquakes?
Yes. If the planet when the planet's in trouble, they usually come. And I have a couple videos that everybody says, oh, it's AI, it's AI. I was like, no, that's not AI. This asteroid is coming in. And it looks like it's going to hit Mexico City. But this little dot comes up. This little dot. It just like blinks in. And the asteroid goes, whoop, and it goes back up like that. And I'm like, did I just see what I saw?
Right.
Like they're here. I think because of the I think because the volcanoes are waking up, it's going to be a new era in Earth. It's the new time period. We're shifting into a new phase on the Earth. Mm-hmm. And this phase is either going to be extremely good, extremely bad. That's why everyone has to push as much as they can for correct disclosure. Not just disclosure, correct disclosure.
Yeah. Fully truthful and accurate. That would be great, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And that's what I said, Margie. That's the first thing I said. Project Contact, when they came to me, I said, I have no problem with that at all. I'll sign whatever you need me to. However, I have one thing. Everything is open. I don't hold anything back. Once it's verified, it goes out.
Very interesting. Where can people find more information about that?
I'll send you a link, Margie, to the Project Contact Vertex Foundation. Okay. We are they are a nonprofit that we go under for Vertex Foundation, and they are about learning, innovation, and pulling together resources to better help the planet. Energy resources, fuel resources, alternate power sources, anything you can think of. We even have they have their own fabrications lab as well in California. So,
great.
Yeah. So we're
Okay.
all set and ready to go.
And where can people find your podcast?
My podcast is on YouTube and LinkedIn, and it is called Galactic Family Podcast. And usually
Okay.
we do meditations, and I have a huge amount of different guests, different backgrounds that came on. Actually, right before you, Margie, I had Glenda Dawson on my podcast from Glenda's Dragon Inspirations. She does. She's a Grandmaster Reiki and does energy work and healing.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like someone I would like to talk to myself.
Oh, she is awesome. I'll connect you with her.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Jason, thank you so much for being on the program. Things just flew by. You had a lot of interesting subjects to talk about, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. All righty, everybody. That's it for tonight. We'll see you here again next week.